Senator Sherrod Brown is on the line. We had Josh Mandel here in the studio. Sherrod Brown lives out where I do, out in Avon, and he's on the line with us. Good morning.
You live in Avon? There's a neighborhood? Man.
I do live in Avon. They let me in there, if you can believe it, Sherrod.
Do people know this?
Do people know what?
That you live there?
Oh,
Do
yeah.
people more than like your next door neighbors know this?
Yeah. I frequently comment about the town of. I love Avon. I think it's a great place to live, as a matter of fact. And Sherrod and his wife live out there.
Yep, it is. All that.
All right. So your competitor here was on. Josh Mandel was on. I'll be honest with Sherrod Brown. I voted for you. I didn't vote for Josh Mandel.
I heard you told him that on this show.
I did. I look.
Appreciated that.
I don't have a problem if you disagree with me. That's great. I don't like Fox News, for instance, who obviously are in the bag for the Republicans, but then want to tell you how fair and balanced their coverage is. Give me a break. I mean, look. So I lean liberal. I voted for Sherrod Brown. He says he would not have done the auto bailout. Sherrod, you supported it. At the time, I didn't agree with it because while I am liberal, I kind of say, look, let's keep government out of things, but I think in hindsight, I was wrong about that. What's your view on it?
I appreciate somebody saying that because, we all are wrong some of the time, and admitting it and acknowledging it and learning from it is obviously a good way to go. I was actually, when the president was here yesterday, and as you probably know, Bruce Springsteen and Jay-Z were with him and performed, which always helps swell the crowd, especially my daughter.
Yeah, because no one's coming out to see, when Sherrod Brown comes, no one really wants to see Sherrod or the president. They want to see Jay-Z.
Right, it's all about Jay-Z.
Right.
But the president said, we were talking about the auto rescue, and he was saying, you remember how even the majority of people in Ohio opposed it in Michigan in those days. But I remember talking to a guy in Toledo whose plant was about to close, and he said, how am I going to support my family? How can my daughter continue to go to community college at Owens? And I remember working with Senator Voinovich, a Republican, working with President Bush then, and then a couple months later with President Obama. We knew it had to be bipartisan. We knew there had to be a partnership between the federal government and local businesses and communities, and we knew how crucial it was to Ohio because hundreds of thousands of jobs in Ohio, including just up the road from you in Avon Lake Ford plant. I mean, there's so much auto in this state and so many companies that feed into it, and Ohio's unemployment rates dropped 3.5 points since then, from 10.5 to 7%. It's not good enough, but this has clearly helped us turn the corner on rebuilding manufacturing.
Well, Josh Mandel said that the government, when they took over, when they made these investments in the auto industry, that then they closed down these auto dealerships. A government bureaucrat closed down the auto dealerships, and I pressed him on that. I go, well, wait a second, didn't the actual auto companies look at what dealerships were performing, the size of the market, the footprint of all of these, and maintaining a gazillion dealerships and whatnot may not be feasible? And isn't it better to close 200 dealerships than close them all? And he said, no, it was the government that did that. Is that accurate? And I don't know if a government bureaucrat
you obviously understand it better than he does. You were right at the beginning. I mean, the GM and Chrysler made difficult decisions. They made a decision, some that I didn't agree with, including what they did to some workers, some retiree salary workers at Delphi, particularly in Dayton and Youngstown, that didn't get their full pensions because of the decision GM made under duress, but still made. We're trying to fix, and a lot of auto dealerships got hurt. I mean, there's no question people got hurt, but the point is, if we had not done the rescue, if Senator Voinovich and President Bush and President Obama and all of us hadn't done the auto rescue, a lot more of those dealerships would have closed. A lot more people would have lost their pensions, and a whole lot of people wouldn't have been working today that are working today. I mean, that plant I was talking about in Toledo is up to 2,000 people now. It's a transmission plant, and it makes transmissions that go into the Chevy Cruze, which is made in Ohio, as you know. So these were not easy decisions. It's easy to say now, well, the government didn't do this or did do that, but it clearly was. I mean, there's no question it was the right thing. And GM wasn't a very well-run company. Now they're much better run. And it took the government. The government didn't, give them money. The government invested, and taxpayers were a partner, and that's how this industry is back on its feet.
And some of it's been paid back, but not all of it yet.
Well, it's been paid back, but the government still owns part of General Motors, that it will sell the stock when the stock gets to a certain level. So it's worked out very well for taxpayers in a especially in Ohio. I mean, I suppose if you live somewhere else, you don't care that much about it. But there's so many jobs in this state that you can visit a manufacturing plant in Central Ohio, and they'll make something you hold in your hand. You don't know what it is, but it's a component that maybe goes into an airbag or goes into a brake or something. So, I mean, we make so many different parts for the auto industry in this state, and these are middle class jobs. These are jobs, paying $15, $20, $25 an hour. And we want more of those because manufacturing jobs increase, other job development, lead to other job development, obviously.
Sherrod Brown is on with us. Your opponent, Mandel, also told us when he was in the studio, he wishes he didn't oppose the auto bailout. He didn't support the auto bailout. He wouldn't have done it. He would have wanted to see the private sector do it. And I've had people say that to me on the air, and I said, well, I think that's revisionist history. If you look back at that time, companies weren't, as I've pointed out, I read an article in Forbes from 2008. McDonald's was part of this credit crisis. They could not get financing. McDonald's, which is a profitable company, who's going to give money to Chrysler or GM? You couldn't get money at that time. You probably would have liked the private sector to go in and do it if that was possible. I don't think it was feasible at that time.
Yeah, again, you understand this better than Josh does. That clearly there wasn't money available. We tried. I mean, meaning the Bush administration, the Obama administration, a group of senators in auto states. We looked for financing. We went to Bain Capital. We went to, I didn't personally, but a group of us all went to sought that out everywhere. And it just wasn't going to step up. But let me tell you real quickly about a meeting. Carl Levin, Senator from Michigan. I had a meeting with 6 or 7 representatives of what are called Tier 1 and Tier 2 auto companies. Those are the companies that make the seats, or the companies that make the cushion, then that sells to the company that makes the seats that then goes into the Cruze or the Jeep Liberty or Wrangler. Mm-hmm. And these guys were scared to death. They were scared about what was going to happen to their customer, GM or Chrysler or Ford or Honda, even Honda less so. And they were scared. They couldn't get capital. They couldn't get financing, just like you said. So we part of the auto rescue was helping these companies get capital, because if GM couldn't rely on Johnson Controls for their seats, or couldn't rely on a little manufacturer in Brunswick that did the component that goes into the airbag because they couldn't get financing, then how's GM going to build their cars? So it's way more complicated than Josh understands.
Well, I think what's unfortunate, Sherrod, is that our politics have devolved to a point where these are very complex issues. Even when I watch the presidential debates, these guys don't answer questions directly, and these are very complex issues that can't be answered in a 30-second campaign ad where, Sherrod Brown is a puppet or Josh Mandel is a clown, it's got a clown wig, and, oh, he's a clown. He doesn't know. I mean, these are serious issues that I don't think that you included, Sherrod. I would say politicians don't give people enough credit for understanding the issues and talking seriously about this stuff. It's really sad.
Yeah, I think that the whole era of the 30-second and the 1-minute commercial and soundbite makes that harder. But I stand. I mean, I think that criticism is legitimate.
I have a guy on the phone.
I never did accuse my opponent of wearing a clown wig.
Well, he has cross-dressed. You've seen that picture, though. We actually had that picture here up on our screen on our television simulcast while Josh Mandel was in here, so he was actually looking at himself in drag. That probably is the first time that's been seen. He said that you've just been in office for too long. You're a career politician, and I have a guy on the phone. I won't go to him because I'm trying to save time here, but he's saying the same thing. He goes, look, I may not agree with everything that Mandel said, but Sherrod Brown has just been in office too long. I want some fresh ideas. What do you say to people that have that belief?
I'd say 2 things. One is, and I don't want to bring him into it much, but this is a young man who's run for 4 offices in 7 years and has never really completed the job he was elected to, and doesn't seem to have that interest in public elective office service because he jumps from office to office and doesn't really do his job in office. But let me answer it a more forthright way and not bring him into, and that is that I take this job seriously. I get up every day. I'm never going to run for another office other than U.S. Senate. I'm not coming back and running for governor. I don't ever want to be president. Nothing like none of those. I take this job seriously, and frankly, when the two major bipartisan bills that I've worked on in the last year, one was a bill to save tens of billions of taxpayer dollars to take away direct farm subsidies from these big profitable corporate farmers, and it would save taxpayer dollars and put money into the family farm safety net to help these small farmers. And second, my China currency bill that Senator was bipartisan as the agriculture bill was. I found a Republican sponsor. We worked on it. Senator Portman supported my China currency bill, a very complicated issue. If I hadn't had the experience in Congress, I would not have been able to put that coalition together and to argue that bill's passage. So I just don't. You don't go to a brain surgeon that just started yesterday, or you don't. When you fly in an airplane, you don't want a pilot that wants to be CEO of United Airlines. You want the pilot that cares about his job and is doing. You don't look for a doctor, a surgeon that wants to run the hospital. You want the surgeon that's the most competent in doing the job they're elected to, and the experience is important. And that's really in addition to the issue contrasts on auto rescue and Medicare and fighting for student loans and freezing Stafford loan interest rates. In addition to the issue differences, contrasts, the experience really does matter.
Your Sherrod Brown is on with us. Your opponent, when he was in, told us people it's all about jobs in this election. I think that it probably is true. 80% of what people are, maybe even 90% of why they're voting is on jobs and the economy. But on other issues, I asked him about gays in the military. He says he doesn't support it, said he didn't know any gays that were in the military when he was in the military, and that everything seemed to be working just fine. I said, well, maybe for you, but maybe not for the gays that were in the military that couldn't come out. But he also said, we talked about abortion. He said that you support abortion even into the 9th month of pregnancy, that a woman should be 9 months pregnant, and you say, go ahead, have an abortion. And I said, I find that hard to believe, but I'll ask him directly.
Yeah, he said that in the debate about the 9th month. I'd never heard anybody ever say that I or any other elected official I know supports abortion in the 9th month. The extreme. I mean, my opponent is. Well, I'll put it this way. Unlike Josh Mandel, I always trust I trust Ohio women to make their own health decisions. And if somebody's raped and they want to get an abortion, they think they want to do that, they should have that option. And my opponent says, even on rape and incest, that they've got to go ahead and carry that they've got to go full term. And
he said that too. Yeah,
that's extreme.
Yeah, he said, well, they could.
The military. I just don't. I mean, I know plenty of people who are gay who have been in the military who had to leave the military because of that, and that's a blow to our national security. I mean, we train these people. It costs a lot of money to train soldiers and Marines and airmen and women, and we're going to throw them out because of the person they love. How stupid is that?
Well, yeah, he also, with the abortion thing, I asked him about the rape. He goes, no, give up the kid for adoption. And I think that's a tough thing for a guy. To tell that to a woman who was raped, that you have to have the rapist baby grow inside of you for 9 months, give birth, then give it up for adoption.
That's such a cavil for him to say, give up the baby for adoption, that after you've been raped or a victim of incest. Men shouldn't make those kinds of decisions.
Before I let you go, because I know you have a very busy schedule today, I think people know my political views here on this show. I voted for Obama. I voted for you. And one of the things I've said about Obama and the economy is people say, well, this is the slowest recovery we've had since World War II. Well, this is the worst economic crisis we've had since before World War II, since the Greatest Depression, and it takes time to get out of this. I think that we're on the right path. I think that the president could have done a better job of explaining that to people. One thing I wanted to talk to you about before I let you go, Obamacare is a huge issue for people that call into my show, and you supported Obamacare. I've made a case for it. I say we're already paying for this as it is for people to get health care, no matter what you want to call it. Our taxpayers are still paying for it. Let's try something, see if this works, get us in line with a bunch of other countries. They say, well, this will hurt small businesses. I've had a lot of people call up and say that today. Now, you supported Obamacare. What do you say to people who say, look, this is going to hurt small businesses, it's going to hurt my small business, this is an added burden, it's an added expense. What do you say to those people?
And I thank you for that. that. I appreciate that question. I did support it, and I support it with enthusiasm. I wrote parts of that bill. It's good for small business in this way. That right now, I mean, what people are forgetting is how the system has been so dysfunctional over the last decade. The number of people I hear say that own small businesses saying, I can't give my employees a raise. I got to shift more health care costs to them because I'm getting killed with health care costs. The number of employees I hear say, I didn't get a raise because most of any raise I would have gotten, it goes to health care costs. Those numbers are just increasing all the time. What this bill does, a lot of things. First, there's over 1 million seniors in Ohio that now get free checkups, mammograms. They're on Medicare now, mammograms and prostate screenings, no cost, no pay or deductible. 200,000 seniors are getting that save $600 on their health on their prescription drugs. All kinds of families that have met a family in Columbus the other day have a diabetic or an asthmatic child. The insurance companies can't take away their coverage because of pre-existing condition. Those consumer protections all matter. And in terms of small business, these companies now can go into a much higher risk pool, a much larger risk pool, which means that rather than 50 employees, if 3 of them get sick, their insurance costs go sky high. They'll be part of a pool with millions and millions of small businesses and individuals, tens of millions really, around the country. And the universal nature of that larger pool will stabilize costs more, in addition to some other things we're doing. But that's fundamentally what matters to these small businesses. And I know a lot of the small businesses are fearful because people have scared them about it. But it's going to work for them as it's going to work for most of the American public.
I agree. I say, look, let's try it. Let's see how this goes. My dad's a doctor. My mom's a lawyer for a hospital group. I've since I was a little kid, I've seen how these insurance companies worked. I've seen how the healthcare system works, and there are things that can be fixed. Sherrod Brown running for re-election in the Senate. Sherrod, last question here. Your opponent says he believes in abstinence-only education. I think that's pretty ridiculous. I then asked him, I said, all right, if you agree with that, I said, it doesn't work. I said, have you ever had premarital sex or did you have sex in high school? He declined to answer the question. Sherrod, I think if you answer this question, I think a lot of people would respect it. They'll go, I'll go out and vote for a guy who's going to answer honestly. You ever have premarital sex or sex in high school, Sherrod?
So first of all, the abstinence-only education is a little pie in the sky. But I'm just glad at the age of 59 to be having any kind of affairs with my wife. So,
well, like a true politician, he doesn't answer.
That question, but my wife is sitting here and she just laughed too.
Oh, well, you tell your wife Connie, who used to. I don't think she works for the Plain Dealer anymore, does she?
She does not.
She wrote an article.
No,
on
I'm not. She just said I do not like what I do. But he didn't say, do you have? Never mind. I was doing so well, and then I looked at her, and she just threw me off course.
Dieter, his
she
wife.
Does that sometimes, and that's actually a good thing.
His wife.
To do that.
His wife wrote an article about you once years ago, Dieter. And
that's how I know her.
Really blasted you, Dieter, because Dieter called a woman a bitch on the air, and your wife took great offense to that and wrote an article about what a horrible guy Dieter is for using that kind of language.
Well, things come and go.
Come on.
Tell her I said hi.
All right, I'll tell her you said hi. Thanks.
All right. Sherrod, good luck to you today, and I appreciate you coming on, my man, and come again after you're reelected.
Thanks. All right.
Thank you. Sherrod Brown. That's his wife,
Yeah,
Connie
I didn't know
Schultz.
that. Now I'm really glad I voted for Josh Mandel.